What is going on, guys? MJ105 Gunner here, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a piece of Gundam news that I would love to talk about on the channel. Now, before I begin, I really want to thank you guys for clicking this. I know everybody's focus is on the Master Grade Extreme Strike Freedom Gundam, and on top of the fact that EXA, Extreme, they aren't anything that the mainstream Gundam fans are going to care about all as much. So I really want to thank you guys for clicking this if you're interested in hearing me talk about this. Now, what this is basically Project NextStream that has been teased in kind of like a magazine screenshot that I remember somebody sending me during my last build stream. Yep, I was excited about that, and now we have it fully unveiled last night for me. So what this project entails is basically a full manga series that's going to be serialized under Gundam Ace, which I am excited for, despite no translations being available immediately, because it is going to have at least 4 new Gundam designs. Well, 4 new Pro-Tag Gundam designs as far as I can tell from the poster. I'm going to talk about that later. And of course, some lore on the mysterious boss unit called the Galvaria. The new units are going to be added to the game of Extreme versus 2 Cross Boost. Not that many of you could access that game because traveling restrictions and that game only being available in arcades in Japan. This is basically the cover poster. I don't know what are the new designs. Now, if you cast your mind back to the Extreme versus 2 Cross Boost trailer, you would remember this. I don't know if anybody caught this, but the project has apparently been teased for at least over a year now. If you slow down the 5 seconds that these things are flashing on the screens, you'll basically see the words NextStream, and then this is one of the designs that actually flashed on the screen on top of the other NextStream Gundam. Now, I thought these were going to be new bosses, new antagonist suits, but apparently they are protagonist suits, and the main boss is still gonna be the Galvaria. Now, they've teased it over a year. This is actually one of the new designs called the Explosion. I'm going to be talking about that later on. And if we look at the poster that was just released last night, we actually see the 2 new designs that were officially unveiled in the bottom here, the 2 Pro-Tag suits, and we do have 2 new designs that aren't actually revealed yet. I believe these are going to also be variants of the NextStream Gundam because the Xanadu, I'm going to talk about later on, is labeled number 4 and the Explosion is labeled number 5. So at least we have to have 3 more units before that, unless the Galvaria is actually unit 1, I don't know. We do have kind of like a Death Scythe looking design with whips, with a chain whip, and we do kind of like a bolt Gundam design with discs like the Kabakali. So I am excited to see what these designs look like in full and in the game. They will be added into the game at some point, I imagine, but for now we only have the 2 bottom designs over here. Now, first of all, let's talk about the protagonist suit, the NextStream Gundam Explosion. Now, at least they actually gave us the height, so they're not as obnoxious as Crossbone Gundam Dust designs, and this looks to be derived from the Extreme Gundam Type Leos 2 Versus and some elements of the Extreme Gundam Excelia. Now, as for my opinions, I'm not too sure about the hanging Quanta-esque shield on the back, and of course, the color scheme is just kind of all over the place. If the blues and reds on the Gundams were switched, I would actually like that. But the orange glowing pieces do look pretty nice. Overall, it's a design that still needs to grow on me. Nothing can top the Extreme Gundam Type Leos 2 Versus for me for now. Not even the Extreme Gundam Extreme application on, which is how Maxi Boost On got the on tag. But anyways, this, not too sure. But according to the cover art over here, it's going to be kind of like a melee unit with 2 katanas. Kind of reminds me of Wheeljack from Transformers Prime. And these things are apparently going to be able to charge up with electricity, kind of like the Extreme Gundam Tachyon phase, and retroactively the Extreme Gundam Zenon phase. And the bits on the back, I don't know what these are. They can close into a very sturdy back shield, so nobody can stab you in the back even if they tried, but they can open up and glow. I'm not sure what those are. I believe the top 2 are going to be cannons. I don't know. We need to see more gameplay footage of this when it comes out in the game in March. And the middle bit, I really want this to be a gigantic buster sword that it can be using. But overall, this is definitely going to be a melee unit. And looking at the screenshots right here, not a single one of the rear bits are being used, but the sword can be charged up to a gigantic sword, kind of like how the Tachyon phase can actually switch its blade into kind of like 100-meter sword. And apparently the gauntlets are going to be a reference to the fire bunkers of the Extreme Gundam Xenon phase and the Type Leos 2 versus. So again, another finger attack, which I'm inevitably gonna fall in love with, but apparently it's gonna be able to use it as a shot attack, kind of like the Extreme Gundam Xenon phase. And here is a more clear version of the cover art, and you can turn this into a PNG if you like, removing the background. And we actually get to see the sparks here very clearly. This thing, I'm still not sure what to think about it. And the rear bit's glowing. I don't know what the heck is up with that. Like, there are glowing bits on the rear, and that is basically enough for me. So that is the one aspect I don't really like about the explosion. But the rest of it, if this thing gets a kit, man, this thing is going to be good material. And I'm going to throw in Megamin in there because why not? Now, the next unit that was revealed is the NextStream Gundam Xanadu. Now, of course, we have the X for Xanadu with a very good looking chunky rifle, and it actually gives me some sort of well, it definitely looks feminine, don't get me wrong, but it actually gives me some sort of kind of like Extreme Gundam Excelia mixed with the G Arcane. I don't know if you guys get that feeling, but the orange versus the blue does look quite nice in my opinion. And this looks to be a bombardment long-range shot type, so it can launch something like the what is it, the photon torpedoes of the G-Cell Perfect Pack, or the light bits, the legless bits of the Gundam Legolas. So I'm not too sure how to look at these. And the backpack could apparently detach and combine with the gun into a gigantic BFG. Now, if you took a look at the trailer, linked down below, you actually see a intermediary stage of the gun being attached to some sort of attachment that I'm not really seeing on the Xanadu. So you still have the backpack X, but with extra bits on the gun. Not too sure what's up with that. But also, here is another clearer photo of the in-game model you can turn into a PNG. But the Xanadu is definitely an interesting design, and one of the more viable designs among the Explosion and the Xanadu to get a kit that is at least decent. Now, we do have the character designs over here. This is Amaki Sai, which is going to be the pilot of the Explosion, and he seems to be that kind of cheery kid, kind of, I don't know, kind of character, because watching the trailer, you know that there is a calamity that is going to take place across dimensions because of the Galvaria. And this like, the personality of Sai really makes me feel like this is a build series. Talking about his companion, I honestly feel like he's more Yuki type, like Yuki from Gundam Build Divers. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer, you actually get what I mean, because this is the happy, cheery kid who fights people to say, why don't you understand, you're just here to be happy. And this is going to be the nerdy, very eccentric type that is going to be a support. Their machines are even colored the same. So I kind of get a Riku Yuki dynamic between Sai and Chika. And I'm not really too sure what to feel. I'm just not too sure. I sort of like the Gundams, the characters not so much. And of course, with Riku and Yuki, we also get our very own Momo. So she is not gonna be a pilot, she's gonna be a navigator, which is gonna be coming in the game as well when the other two Extreme Gundams are gonna be thrown into the mix. And yeah, she's just that obnoxious, cheerful girl, as far as I can tell from the trailer. So, I don't know. These three characters fit more in the build series than something like a history rewriting calamity. But speaking of which, I actually caught this panel from the trailer. This is the Galvaria. Now, if you don't know what the Galvaria is, the Galvaria is basically the new boss unit of Extreme vs. 2. So we have at least 3 variants of the Galvaria. We have the Galvaria Hander, which is basically a sword combat, hand-to-hand type combat that can generate fire basically throw flames out of his 4 arms and generate fire blades, 8 in total, 2 for each arm, and of course you have the gigantic mega beam cannon in its chest. And the second unit is the Galvaria Beamer, which is, as you may expect, heavy firepower, missiles, beam cannons, and a gigantic turret on the top of the unit itself, and the Galvaria Wasper. Now, I don't know what the Wasper actually is, but it feels like a ripoff of the Ignis face combined with a dragon aesthetic and the Neo Zeon, because it does have 2 cycle shard rings that can be repurposed to attack people with its frame, or combine the 2 cycle shard rings to form a giant beam cannon. Now, in the game, of course, the devastation is dialed down for the players to, I don't know, actually win, but I really hope the Galvaria's pilot will actually be shown, and more of the Galvaria itself, because one thing I don't like about the Extreme Gundam, like the original Extreme Gundam in the games, is that it only uses the packs. So I really feel like a third phase would be good, like destroying the packs, have the Extreme Gundam pop out of it, and just fight the Extreme Gundam. Same thing goes for the Galvaria. I don't know if it has any other onboard weapons. I know it can transform into a mobile armor mode, but if Bandai actually decides to make a whole series of kits, the Galvaria is one of the more viable options. Throw in some unique weapons for the Galvaria, and the transforming mechanic, you can steal some elements of it from the Brave, some from the Gundam Greep, and just make the Gundam itself. Give us a sticker for the Mono Eye and you're gonna be grand. So out of all of the designs, the Galvaria is actually one of the more viable designs, even more viable than the Xanadu, to be made into a kit. Now I'm gonna bet everything that I have to say that they won't do that, because we don't even have model kits or any merchandise representation of the previous upgraded Extreme Gundams. So, what's to say that they will do a model kit of these things, or even just a figure of these things? If they do announce it, you guys can shout at me in the comments all you want. So that's basically going to wrap it up for this video. So tell me in the comments below what you think about the explosion in the Xanadu, the overall project, and basically what your forecast is about the explosion, the Xanadu, the Galvaria, and the other 2 variants over here really be having a model kit release, and everything that you'd like to talk about the project itself. So, and thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to double like, comment, and also subscribe for more gunplay reviews, gunplay news, and the like. Turn on notifications for future content alerts if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.